Hello everyone, and welcome back to this corner of Tevat. While exploring Nod-Krai, I have been met with many familiar words, and in this video, I would like to share them with you, comrade, so you can successfully infiltrate Fatui in the future. Small disclaimer before we start: Slavic culture spans across several countries, and same words and concepts might have similar, close, or completely different meanings depending on specific region. Russian being my first language is going to affect my perspective on these cultural references, so please keep that in mind for the rest of the video. Let's start with the name of the region itself. The word Krai means edge or region, with the latter commonly used back in the Russian Empire days. In modern Russia, most federal subjects are called oblast, and only few are using Krai in their names, although there is no difference in levels of autonomy between these entities, and the choice of words seems to be purely historical. Nod-Krai being a separate region from Snezhnaya clashes a bit with the meaning of the word Krai, since it is interpreted as a part of a bigger union, which Nod-Krai is not, at least as far as we know. Calling it Republic of Nod would have made its autonomous status more prominent. The journey in Nod-Krai starts in Nasha town. Nasha is used in several Slavic languages as a possessive pronoun, meaning ours. The small nitpick here comes from the fact that nouns in all Slavic tongues are gendered, and the gender of the word affects adjectives and pronouns used with it. The word town in several languages, including Russian, is masculine, so Nash town sounds more grammatically correct. Although I can understand why developers have chosen a feminine version, it seems to flow better when used in original Chinese voiceover.
到达这里的第一个目的地纳沙镇。
Next, let's move on to military terms, starting with guardia, coming into Russian language from Italian in early 18th century. This word is used for elite military unit, whose main purpose is protecting the ruler. But the concept of private Tsar army is nothing new. Back in 16th century, Ivan the Terrible put a part of Russian state under his direct control in order to suppress growing discontent between nobility through mass repressions. In turn, that led to the creation of the first state police in Russian history, oprichniki. So know that every time you defeat one, you are bringing the end of Tsaritsa's rule closer. Some of the higher-ranking Fatui officers are called poruchik. This rank doesn't currently exist in the Russian army, but it used to be roughly on the same level as modern lieutenant. This rank was introduced into Russian army in 17th century, long after oprichniki were abolished. So while a rank of a poruchik could be found in the Guardia, oprichniki existing within the same army as them is quite an anachronism. Let's take a look into another structure, lightkeepers. Their members are called ratniki. Ratnik is a word that meant private, lowest military rank in Russian Empire. Senior lightkeepers are called starshina, military ranking somewhere in between private and lieutenant. Historical discrepancy found its way into lightkeepers' ranks too. The term ratnik ceased to be used with the end of Russian Empire in 1917, while the term starshina was only established in 1935. Some Nod-Krai citizens are named after objects. Yagoda, for example, means berry in Russian, but in some other Slavic languages, it has a more specific meaning of a strawberry. Lurka, Nod-Krai blacksmith, in Russian means cradle, which is quite a cute choice for a name, but together with her dad called Arkhip, I think that they're a reference to a Soviet engineer, Lurka Arkhip Mikhailovich, known for his work in designing jet engines. Some other common Russian names that you can meet in Nod-Krai include Kirill, Zinaida, Luba, short for Lubov, literally meaning love, and Alachka, diminutive for Allah. Another name that shouldn't fly under your radar is Bobik, very common nickname for a dog, especially one without pedigree. Some NPCs are named in a manner that mimics a real Slavic name pretty well. For example, Zernitsa. The closest sounding word to it would be Zarnitsa or Zornitsa, which means flash from lightning or morning star, depending on the language. Another good one is Dobrava. When written as Dubrava, it means oak forest, and can be seen on the map as a name for towns and villages in several Slavic countries. Last one, Danyushka, is a real name, diminutive for Daniil. But not only Daniil is a masculine name, the last name of this NPC is Shesternin, which is also a masculine form of a surname. Together with the title Mrs., it paints a bit of a confusing picture. This mishap is surprising to me, considering that the rest of Nod-Krai is doing a lovely job with surnames. In Nasha town you can meet Durov, probably already a familiar surname for anyone interested in the deck, as well as Holodov and Kudratov, with the latter more likely to be heard in Uzbekistan or Tajikistan. For female NPCs you can meet Astakhova, fairly common last name, or Golitsina, very famous surname, one of the largest noble houses of Russian Empire. Next are surnames like Zaitseva, stemming from the word Zayets, meaning rabbit, or Kotenkova, meaning kitten. But Russian naming customs don't stop at gendered endings for surnames. Typical Russian name consists of 3 sections: last name, first name, and patronymic. Patronymic is based on father's name, usually with endings ovich, yevich, or ich for males, and ovna, yevna, or ichna for females. Patronymics are a rare sight in Nod-Krai, with most notable exception being Flint's, who carries the patronymic of Chudomirich, meaning the son of Chudomir. Sometimes people would opt for a matronymic, same concept, but based on mother's name, although it is fairly rare to encounter in Russia. Hopefully, that makes the dialogue in the world quest The Maze, the Mirror, and the Tsar funnier, as Traveler keeps referring to Paimon as Paimanovna, the daughter of Paimon. Is it just a joke, or maybe a clever foreshadowing? In the next section, I would like to discuss a couple of literary references. First, and the most known one, is local legend Raskolnikov. Raskolnikov is a main hero of classic novel Crime and Punishment by the Russian author Fyodor Dostoevsky. The story follows Raskolnikov as he goes through delusions of grandeur, mental anguish, horror, and guilt after planning and executing a murder of a loan shark. That's not a spoiler, by the way, it happens pretty early in the novel. And also, the image of Raskolnikov, young man, the loan shark, old lady, and the raised axe has vast cultural significance and is recognized by most Russians. While the novel handles the concept of moral right to judge and kill with utmost scrutiny, the Genshin counterpart lacks the same depth of personal dilemma, and seems to be a reference for the sake of a reference. The same cannot be said about the next character. Nothing's Passage features a quest with notes right out of Lovecraftian novel, but the story also has a reference to another piece of fiction. One of the most important figures in the quest is Professor Preobrazhensky, who is shown as a ruthless scientist. His later counterpart, Professor Preobrazhensky from the novel called Heart of a Dog, written by Mikhail Bulgakov, is also known for quite a special experiment. He performs a surgery on a dog to give him a human pituitary gland. As a result of this experiment, the dog slowly takes on human form, while retaining some of his more animalistic behaviors and desires, wreaking havoc on Professor's life. The novel is interpreted as a satire on communist revolution and its desire to accelerate societal progress, and its publication was forbidden in USSR. Nowadays, alongside many other Bulgakov's works, it is held in pretty high regard. Just like novel Professor Preobrazhensky ran an experiment that went horribly bad, Snezhna and Professor's experiments also were conducted with a goal of advancing humanity, and also became a cause of his and many others' demise. To finish on a lighter note, I would like to draw your attention to one particular town that is spoken about by many NPCs, Novo Kitezhgrad. The prefix Novo means new, and it was used to differentiate a new town from existing ones with otherwise the same name. Kitezhgrad, or simply Kirish, is a mythical town that is said to sunk into the lake Svetloyar to escape Mongolians' advancement through Russian lands in 13th century. Some say that singing can still be heard on the lake. Anyways, the use of the name Novo Kitezhgrad seems pretty smart to me. On the one hand, it references the legendary city that managed to escape the calamity. On the other, the prefix Novo is pointing us to the fact that it is not the original, but something that Snezhnayans built anew, allegedly 500 years ago. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you found it interesting. For me, it was fun to brush up my knowledge while preparing for this video and share some of the familiar culture with you. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a like, so I know to look for more names and references when a new map expansion gets released. I will see you soon. Bye bye!